Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this exciting TV broadcast. We'll see you tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that, because that's the way we broadcast news, and that's the way you consume entertainment. Won't change anytime soon. For the Mitt TV, I'm Tim Meyer. Tim Meyer.
You Tim Meyer?
I said Tim Meyer.
They said you were coming.
Is what they say true?
See for yourself.
What's this?
They call it a podcast studio.
What the heck's a podcast studio?
It's a studio for podcasting. Superior sound, visuals, allowing the viewer to either watch or listen for an intimate experience of long-form content.
Long-form content?
Without any restrictions from any cable or network provider, there's no telling how long it can be.
Is it affordable?
You have no idea.
What's he doing?
Found him here in the studio. Recent college graduate trying to start a podcast with his friends after debating the existence of God in women's sports.
How come I can't hear him?
Stephenville's is spying us through the intergalactic satellite system. Also buy my merch with my special creator code.
How long before this becomes accessible?
It already has.
If you or someone you know is looking to start a podcast for business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. With hourly rates starting as low as $1.60 an hour, the Mitt TV grants access to state-of-the-art podcast studio, allowing you to record perfect audio, amazing video for your audience. Contact the Mitt TV today at mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. This job stinks.
So.
Not more when the fourth.
Don't you call more important me?
Does it look almost?
Ooh. Yo, this is Kowalski with the Mitt TV. How we doing?
You there?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
How can I help you today?
I'm trying to watch the Mitt TV
That's awesome. Where are you trying to watch the Mitt TV at?
on my TV.
Perfect.
Let me break it down for you.
Yeah!
Here at the Mitt TV, we offer a whole slew of content, from community events, Romeo Community Schools, sports, and everyone's favorite, the Village of Romeo board meetings. Just find the YouTube app and in the search bar type at the Mitt TV. Once you find our channel, you can go to the videos tab for our entire catalog of videos.
What if I'm trying to watch something live?
It is so easy you have no idea. Just click the live tab to find all previous and upcoming live streams.
I see that, but I'm trying to watch an archived Village of Romeo Board of Trustees meeting.
Whoa, alright, board meetings! For any and all archived meetings, select the playlist tab. Not only will you find all meetings for the Village of Romeo organized by year, but you'll also find Romeo Community Schools and Romeo District Library. Our Mitt TV page can also be accessed on your smartphone. Just download and open the YouTube app and type at the Mitt TV in the search bar, and there you go. Or if you're on a computer, find the search bar at the top of your window and type youtube.com/at the Mitt TV.
Sweet.
Another satisfied customer.
The regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Trustees of Romeo.
Sick.
Would you all please stand?
7 o'clock. We will bring our meeting to order. This is our June 16th, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting. Let us all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Lucero, could you please call the roll?
Bartholomew.
Here.
Edwards.
Here.
Fowler is excused. Kerr.
Here.
Parker.
Present.
Rosso.
Here.
President Poznanski.
Here. We also have an excused absence for Mr. Clark. He did have an event come up at the last minute. He informed me this morning, said, well, if we run into a roadblock, it comes to it, we can table whatever that happens to be until next month. So he does appreciate your consideration in that. Moving into our approval of the agenda, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support. Justin, go ahead.
Who was the support? I'm sorry.
Justin.
Got it.
We have a motion by Bartholomew, support by Parker, to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Moving into our minutes. We do have two sets of minutes. The May 28th special meeting was at your table when you walked in this evening. Let's start, though, with our May 19th, our last council meeting. Do we have a motion for the, minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting from May 19th.
Support.
We have a motion by Cares, support by Edwards. Do we have any discussion?
I do. If you guys notice, so you guys didn't get them right away with your packets. It's actually this computer had an issue with updating, corrupted some files, had to go to a previous version of the operating system. Because of that.
Turn your microphone on.
Oh, I thought it was, I'm sorry. Because of that, there is one typo, and I went back through them all, and it has President Poznanski on page 3 asks for a motion for the minutes when it was the bills being talked about, because I had to marry a couple different files too. When I went back to the previous operating system. So that said, I can amend those, get the right ones up. That's the only typo that I found. I went back through them.
Do we have any other discussion? Okay. All in favor, minutes with the one edit from Clerk Lucero?
Aye.
Aye.
We have any opposed? Opposed. Could you turn your microphones on, please? So we have an opposed Parker and Rousseau. And then we move into our May 28th special meeting minutes. Do we have a motion?
Motion to table May 28th for adequate time to review, put it on next month.
We have a motion to table.
Do you want to table or you want to postpone?
Table till next month to review.
You want to postpone? Yeah, it's table is for pending more information in the same meeting. Postpone is to postpone till the next meeting. I'm just trying to inform you. So if you want to do that, I just want to make sure that my notes are correct.
Sounds good.
So motion to postpone.
Motion to postpone. Do we have a support?
Support.
Who wants it? No one can have it. Okay. Support by Care to postpone until July. All in favor? Aye. Is there any opposed?
Yes.
Opposed.
We have Bartholomew and Edwards.
If I could, Madam President. I do have to say, because it's going on 6 months, procedurally, and this is per OMA, it's been upheld multiple times. There's multiple briefs written about it, including the Attorney General of the state of Michigan. Procedurally, you can't vote no on minutes. That's why they become part of consent agendas, because they have to exist. It's the official record. They have to exist. The only allowable action with them is to amend. You don't even need a vote to approve. If no one wants to amend the minutes, the chair can actually just declare them approved as presented. So I feel it necessary to point that out, because we're going on 6 months of being, of having them voted no on 1 to 3 members of this body, and procedurally you can't do that.
I voted no to postpone.
Correct.
You can vote no to postpone, but not whether or not you're approving minutes.
Well,
Minutes are supposed to be either
I guess I would suggest
amended.
then that we throw it on as a topic for July. Let's get an official legal ruling or recommendation, and we'll go from there. Is that
Not to postpone.
Okay.
Yeah, add it to July. Sounds good.
fine with me? Moving into our approval of council bills, we have 2 sets of bills, one in the amount of $52,140.07, the other in the amount of $887,755.33. Do we have a motion to approve bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Support?
We have a motion by Edwards, support by Bartholomew to approve the bills. Do we have any discussion?
I just have one question on the Chase account. On May 18th, we have an interest charge. Do we not pay the in full every month?
We do. I'm working on that because there was an issue when the account came in. It was paid, but something with the computers, again, it was hit submit, thought it was submitted, didn't go through, then we got something. We had a late fee, we got, I got reversed, if you see that. The interest charge, we're assuming that came from that. I'm waiting on customer service to give me a call back about that. That was found last week before you guys, before these were sent out to you guys. So I fired off an email and got the boilerplate. We received your email, so we'll be in contact.
Okay.
So don't have a word yet, but I'll try to get that reversed as well.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? No. If not, could you please call the roll?
Yeah. Care?
Yes.
Parker?
No.
Edwards?
Yes.
Rousseau?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
President Poznanski?
Sorry, yes. Yes. Hello?
It's not on.
Yes. I don't know what to tell you.
We can hear you. I can hear your tapping, but it's not.
Hello?
Turn it off and on.
Yes? Oh, yes. Okay, moving into our special presentations, we have the DDA. I don't know, I hit it with my glasses and now it's like.
Okay. I'll make it quick. Is this working? Okay. We had ordered new downtown merch, and we're just working on administrative items in order to start selling them soon. The District 360 program is still in the onboarding phase. Kay, our executive director, is very excited with how things have been going so far, and hopefully we'll have a full and complete list of all businesses and building owners and all the contact information, which will be very helpful. The communication that comes out of that program is by email, phone, text, campaigns, daily, monthly touch points. So if some people don't like email and they like text messages, they could get information that way as well. The multimodal streetscape planning services, which was from Giffords Webster. They came, they walked the sidewalks, they're still working on the plan, and that should be available in the next 2 weeks. We will also have a town hall meeting to inform the community. so they can see what that plan looks like as well. Summer flowers have been installed. The Visionary Leaders Circle hosted their first, what they're calling a micro event downtown this past weekend, which was the sidewalk sales. Full event recap will be given next month, but the preliminary feedback has been very positive. We had one new business open at 121 South Main, BA Gaming Rigs. They sell gaming computer equipment, do repairs and consulting, and we are working with them on a sign grant and equipment grants through Velocity. 109 South Main has become vacant, so we're working to find a good tenant for that. And then our social media and website went out for RFP, and the DDA has decided to go with Ignite Media, and we are starting the onboard process for that. Any questions?
And you're on Channel 7.
Huh?
And on Channel 7 tonight?
Oh, I didn't know that.
You did read your email.
I didn't see it yet. Okay, I guess we're on Channel 7 tonight.
Danielle, did you have a date for the town hall meeting?
I don't. Nope.
Okay.
Once we have the official plans from Giffords Webster, I know Kay's going to try to put a timeline together.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Kay had sent an email out to the board. She was able to get interviewed by Channel 7 with all the good things, got to show off the new merch, plug Vintage Fest. Okay, all the things. So what time does it say?
6 o'clock.
Okay, so we all missed it anyways. But anyway, we can go back and watch. Okay, now moving into our wastewater treatment plant energy assessment.
Now it's on?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name's Dave Lux, and I'm from Deluxe Energy. And over the last couple of weeks or 3 weeks, I performed an energy audit at the wastewater treatment plant. And by energy audit, we focused on taking a look at the lighting and converting it over to LED lights to save energy. So I went through the whole facility. I'll go into that in just a moment. The first page that you have in your package should have been distributed to you. It's up on the screen as well. Let me make it just a little bit bigger. There we go. So I work with DTE almost exclusively, and DTE has a program to go out to businesses and upgrade their facilities to LED lighting. It's part of the Green Initiative that is federally funded and also locally funded. So DTE has a special program, and that's what this is surrounding. So I've been participating with DTE since 2017, and that's when I founded Deluxe Energy. This is what we specialize in. We're not an electrical contractor in terms of looking for electrical work. We strictly every day go out to businesses, municipalities, and we look at their lighting and figure out how to upgrade it to save energy and to save cost for you. And that's all that we do. We specialize in that, and we've been doing it for 9 years now. DTE requires us to use commercial-grade equipment. There's a lot of things set in place through the DTE program that we have to abide by, and that is protecting you as a customer. So they've laid a lot of ground rules, and one of them, the second bullet point on there, is that all the equipment that we install has to be certified by DLC. And I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but DLC is the Design Lights Consortium. Essentially, they take products and they certify them that they're commercial grade. They last a minimum of 50,000 hours. The specifications are accurate. In other words, if it says this light is going to use 100 watts, it's not using 101 or 102, because in larger facilities, even just that 1 or 2 watt difference can make a big difference if you have hundreds of lights and you run your lights for multiple shifts. So DTE has a number of roadblocks there to make sure that we're using the right equipment. Included as part of the DLC program is all of the lights have to have a 5-year warranty on them. So you have lights that are warranted for 5 years. They're expected to run 50,000 hours, which, just to give you an idea, if you're running your lights around 50 hours a week, that's between 17 and 20 years. So it's a very long time, and they're maintenance-free. There's no ballasts that can go bad. The only thing that can really go bad is the lights themselves. And again, with a 5-year warranty and an expected run time of 50,000 hours, which is 17 to 20 years, it's a long-term investment for you, and we don't expect that you'll have to do any maintenance like you are now. Our warranty on any of the work that we do is a 90-day labor warranty. And also, the second from last bullet point, DTE offers financing at 0%. The village may or may not want to take care of that or take advantage of it, but it's available to you. And we use it all the time because it's a really great feature, because a vast majority of places that I go to, and you guys might be a little different, they don't have a budget. They're not large enough to have a budget for LEDs. But the 0% interest-free loan spread out over 36 months in many cases makes it so that they don't have to have a budget, and the savings pays for that loan. And I'll show you that in a little bit more detail on 2 slides later. So just to wrap it up, we've been doing this exclusively since 2017. We're in our 9th year. That's all we do is just lighting upgrades using the DT program. You're going to get commercial-grade equipment with a 5-year warranty expected to last 17 to 20 years. And our warranty is 90 days on the labor. Any questions so far? It can be interactive if you guys want. I don't mind if you ask questions or interrupt, if that's all right. All right. I will have to make this one a little bit smaller. All right, there we go. This you'll probably need to use the paper to see. But I basically went through the water treatment plant and went to every single room, got a full tour, got the tunnels and everything, and each room is listed separately on here. First of all, the overall savings, if you take a look, is we're projecting that you will save 70% compared to the lights that you have now, and by moving to LED. That translates into an annual energy savings, which is the bright green box, of $3,548.77. So annually, we can save $3,500. If you go up one box, the light blue box, that's a total for what the lights are costing you right now. And that's $5,000 per year to run the lights at the water treatment facility. If you're wondering how I can figure this out, I just want you to know that it's an engineering math problem. If you know how long the lights run, how many hours per week or per day, it doesn't matter. If you know how many lights there are and what the wattage is, so if you know there's 1,000 light bulbs and they're all 32 watts, you can go on the internet right now and in under a minute find a whole bunch of formulas that you can plug in and get the same numbers I have. This is just built into my proprietary energy audit that I use for my customers. So at the end of the day, the blue column represents what is each room costing you today with the lights that you have, which are predominantly fluorescent lights. The next column over is what it will cost with LED lights. So the green column is less expensive because the LEDs save energy by using less energy. So you will go from spending $5,083 annually for your lights at the water treatment facility down to only $1,500 annually. So again, it's a 70% savings by doing that. And it's simple mathematics. I went around and counted every single light, put them into the formula, and got this energy savings. Any questions on the energy savings? Yes.
So this does not include the actual tunnels themselves?
This includes everything.
Okay, so even
I see
like the ones that are,
east-west, the second one from the top says tunnel.
Yes.
And then tunnel north-south.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's what those stand for.
okay, so the ones that go on and off on their own?
It includes everything that I was able to find, I mean, except for maybe a room that the guys didn't show me or whatever, but we got a pretty good tour, and it includes every single room. So the tunnels are included, everything.
Okay.
And just so you know, it also includes all the outdoor lights. And those are kind of important because, number one, the guys at the facility said they definitely are a little bit light on the outdoor lighting there in terms of the brightness that they're getting, and they would like it bumped up a little bit. And secondly, outdoor lights represent usually more closer to an 80% savings. So they're kind of low-hanging fruit. They're the ones that definitely should be done. Plus, they run a lot. Here in Michigan, if you're running from dusk till dawn, that averages out to be about 12 hours a day if you take an annual average. So, and they're much more power hungry than fluorescent lights are inside. That's why the outside ones are called high-intensity discharge. They're older and a lot less economical. So all of the lights are included, indoors and outdoors, including the tunnels. Just so you know, the tunnels were the ones that get the least amount of usage. So if for some reason this looked good to you, but you wanted to trim the cost or whatever, we could remove the items that are less savings for you. And the way to determine that is you can just look at the blue column and compare it to the green column and see which rooms get more savings. And the way that happens is basically it's usually the hours of runtime. And if you look in the the fourth column, it's called hours per week. That is where we took and put in how many hours a week we think those lights are running. And the numbers I used came from the guys that gave me the tour at the water treatment facility. So I used the numbers that they gave me. Those can be changed. So if you're looking through that and you want something even more exact or precise and you think that the run times are off, we can change the run times to be more or less. If the run times are more, your savings is greater, and if the run times are less, then your savings is less. So at the end of the day, we can save 70% on what you're paying for electricity at the facility to run the lights, and that equates to a $3,500 savings annually. Any questions on the actual audit portion of it?
Yeah, when I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at like admin basement, let's take the first one. You got the 4-foot fluorescent TAT12, 32-watt lamp. Is that just a description of what's down there? I'm going to assume there's more than just one lamp.
Yes, this sheet doesn't tell you how many fixtures and how many lamps per fixture, not on this sheet. But I have it in another part of my sheet, but it's not included in the presentation. Exactly. That's exactly right.
I was looking at some of that, I'm pretty sure there was more than one lamp in some of those areas.
Exactly. Yeah. This is just a generalization, and for people that are wondering, is this a guesstimate or is this for real? It's actually engineering science. For example, the admin basement, you said 32 watts is what a 4-foot tube that's a T8 burns. They're all 32 watts, and that's what you have. We put in an 11-watt tube that is the same amount of light, just a tick more, but call it the same amount of light, and it's only 11 watts. That's exactly where the savings is coming from. If you use 32 watts versus 11 watts, if you calculate that out, that's about a 60, I believe it's 62% savings if you divide them out. And so for those that are a little bit not know about LEDs or wondering, is this a guess? This is exact science. The only thing that really drives the difference in how much I'll save you is if we manipulate the hours of runtime. Because I know my count is accurate, I know that the current wattage is accurate, and I know what I'm going to put in is accurate. The only variable that would really change this would be increasing or decreasing the amount of time each room's going to run. And if you guys have changes to that, I'm willing to put them in there so that you can have something that's even more exact for your return on investment, which is we're getting to next to is an exact return on investment. How long will it take the village to recoup its money for doing the project? Any other questions? Okay, great. Next page. There we go. Okay, so the next page is more of a graphical representation of what I just showed you. So what we're saying is that if you take the annual amount that I had on the other page and divide it by 12, you're currently spending $688 from the bill that that DTE sends to the water treatment plant. Out of that whole bill, and it's enormous compared to the lighting because of all the pumps and everything running there. We know for a fact, because of the engineering mathematical equation, we know that if my hours of runtime are right, everything else is right, you're spending $688 per month to run those lights. We also know that if you do switch over to LEDs, that will save you $560.73. So that's the bright green bar on the second bar graph. So the first bar graph is your current expenditure with fluorescent lights. The second bar graph is the expenditure will drop $560. So that's savings in the village pocket. You're no longer spending that $560 and sending it to DTE. It's coming off the bill from the savings. So your bill will go from $688 down to $127.92. That's 70% off. That's the 70% savings. Now, my last bar graph, this one is if you're interested in taking advantage of the DTE financing. It basically shows you that you don't run your lights overall long enough there to completely pay for the 36-month interest-free loan, because the savings will pay for most of it per month. The $560 that you're savings, you would take that savings, DTE's not billing you for it anymore, you send that money that you used to send to DTE, you send it to the finance company, and then each month the village would have to kick in an extra $186 to pay off that loan at 36 months. So let me give you an example. Many of my customers that run their lights more will have a savings that red bar is actually green. They save more than the cost of the loan. It all just depends on how long your lights are running, how many hours they are. So in your case, and part of it is because you have a lot of lights that are in those tunnels. There's quite a few lights down there, but they literally get used maybe 15 hours a week. That's the number that we used. That's a pretty low amount. So, but it would be smart to get them changed because the light is better, and there's also maintenance. There's no more maintenance. You won't have to have the guys going in and changing tubes and changing ballasts. So at the end of the day, you will save $560 per month. And if you take advantage of the loan during the 36 months, you will have to add each month $186 out of your budget to pay for that loan. And then on month 37, you continue to save the $560 for the next 20 years. All of these numbers are frozen at today's rate. So they're very conservative in nature because we all know that energy costs are going up, and we're not accounting for anything. We're just keeping it the same. But 3 years from now, we know that $560 savings will be greater by, I don't know, 5%, 10%, whatever energy costs go up, whatever it may be. Any questions on that? Okay. Now, the next one is for the pricing. This is an exact list of all the rooms that we're going to do, which is you've already seen. At the end of the day, our cost to the village is $26,894.85, and that's turnkey. You don't have to do anything. We interface with DTE. We handle the electricians. We make sure that DTE gets out here and performs their assessment. Everything is handled by us, good, bad, or indifferent. You call me one source, and it all happens through us. And like I said, we've been doing this since 2017. Around Metro Detroit, in the last 9 years, we've done almost 300 facilities around Metro Detroit. Now, your grand total is $26,894, and I told you that DTE offers rebates and an interest-free loan. The rebates right now, and they do fluctuate a little bit, but right now the current rebates with bonuses and everything are $4,858.02. You get the rebate check, the village will get the rebate check 2 to 4 weeks after we complete the work. So whether you finance it or pay us directly, you do pay us the whole amount, and then 2 to 4 weeks later, DTE will mail you a check, and that goes back to the village, and you can do anything you want with that money. So in essence, your true project cost is $22,036.83. And that is the full presentation, and open for any other questions.
So, just to add, this is for discussion at the end of the meeting under 11I, so that Mr. Lux doesn't have to sit here until the very end, if anyone has any questions. I mean, if not, we can get him on the phone later if we have questions when we discuss it.
Can I add one thing in there? I forgot to mention that if you're not interested in the loan, I went back to the graphical sheet. Your return on investment, if you just pay my company to do the work, and then you take the savings and divide it into what we charge you, your payback on this project is 39 months. So if you take the $560 savings per month, and you divide it into the $22,000, which is your true project cost, that's 39 months. So your return on investment, if you want to do this project, is 39 months.
Thank you.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
On here, the rebate, estimated utility rebates, DTE's does rebates for retrofitting?
Yes, they do. Whether it's new fixtures, retrofit, it doesn't matter. It's kind of a lengthy process, but essentially it's mostly based on the more savings you get, the more the rebate is. So the lower wattage I use, the more the rebate. In your case, everything was set up to give you the same or a slight bump in the amount of light that you have. Nothing to go lower.
Okay. So all the fixtures and stuff in there look in good shape to be able to retrofit? I'm assuming we're removing the ballast, right? Or
Yes, we clip the ballast out. There are a few areas that we do put in new fixtures. For example, if you take a look at the last page, the actual quote, in a light green, you'll notice that there's a number of 2x2 square fixtures. Those are less expensive because of the cost of a U-shaped LED bulb. I can purchase for less money or about the same and give you a brand new fixture. So those will be new fixtures. And then outside, we always put in new fixtures because, as you can imagine, the gentleman that walked me around said the facility was, I think, 45 years old. That means the lighting fixtures outside are 45 years old. Personally, I don't want to touch them. I want to pull them down and put up something brand new. And I would not recommend that you do anything other than replace the outdoor ones. At 45 years old, they've had a good life.
so I guess if we're not going to replace, I guess I should get into it a little. If we're getting into the fixtures like in the basement and stuff, and there is additional work needed, you know, tombstones are bad or fixtures are rusted, and you just can't make them work with a retrofit, and we have to do some additional work, is that still covered in the total project cost, or is there additional?
Tombstones is totally covered, and a little bit of additional work, and I didn't see anything that would require, that was even close, because I would have automatically just said, let's go with new. Yeah, I didn't see anything that was really close. And retrofitting is the most economical way to do it. In some cases, I almost like it better because when you put in a brand new LED fixture, if it goes bad, you have to replace the whole fixture. But when you retrofit a fixture like these, if a tube goes bad, it's only a one-tube solution. So on some hands, retrofit is kind of almost better in terms of looking forward for maintenance and everything. But newer fixtures, if the look of the space is important for you, then obviously the new fixtures are nicer looking. So most places we go, we do a predominant retrofit.
Sounds good. Any more questions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to correspondence. I did not receive any correspondence. And then into public comment. Public comment, 3 minutes at the podium.
Hi, Sharon Smith. I'm a village resident. I had sent an email to everyone on the board. It was addressed to President Poznansky, as well as I dropped off a letter of interest or an application for the DDA. And I wrote a letter that I would like to read. President Poznansky, I'm writing to submit an application for a position on the DDA if one becomes available. Attached is that application. As you know, I have expressed interest in serving on the DDA for a few years now. It was a surprise to me to see 2 new members at the DDA meeting of June 2nd, not knowing there were openings available and appointments being made. So my apologies if it seemed that my interest had waned. Over the past 3 years, I have attended almost every DDA meeting, missing only a handful during that time. I also volunteered for DDA-sponsored events at every chance. Our beautiful and quaint downtown has a huge place in my heart. I have memories from years and years ago when retail shops were plentiful and served our residents and neighboring communities as well. As a homeowner and resident, I know that it's important for our downtown to thrive and prosper. It is good for our property values, it brings new families to live here, and it brings visitors from far and wide to share our special place. If I am appointed to the DDA, it will be an honor and a privilege to work hand in hand with fellow DDA team members to make Romeo a destination for shopping and dining once again. Please consider me if an open seat becomes available again in the future. And just to reiterate, I go to meetings almost every month. I think I may have missed 1 or 2 over the past year and a half. And sometimes I'm the only person in the audience. I'm there a lot more than some of the DDA board members are as well. So I really do have an interest, and I really do hope that if an opening becomes available, I remain interested. And if I have to submit a new application every year, I will. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon.
Any more public comment? Okay, we will close this public comment until the end. Moving into our officer reports, we'll just start at the table. Trustee Bartholomew, do you have anything?
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Edwards?
No, nothing at this time.
Trustee Rousseau? Trustee Parker?
Trying to do planning real quick. Not much going on. We revisited the special land use for the bed and breakfast at the Gray House. It was asked to be tabled, which I know now is postponed. Again, until next month, till we had a full commission, full board there.
That's the second month in a row.
Second month, that's correct. They keep requesting, and the planning commission keeps entertaining postponing.
How many people were missing? Sorry to interrupt.
There was three missing this month, 1 the month before. So
Think you have a full board this month, next month?
I don't think that's gonna happen. So if we continue down this road, it'll probably just get postponed.
2027.
Again.
What seems to be the issue?
Yeah.
So it came up, the standards were read, they did not fully, how's the language say? You have to, all the standards have to be found in the affirmative. They weren't all found in the affirmative. Some were a tie, which fails. If that's the correct terminology, I'm not sure, but that's kind of where it ended there, because then a motion was made 2 months ago to approve. It didn't get a second, and then it just lingered, and they asked for it to be tabled, postponed. Came up against this month, they figured that having everyone there would make a difference probably in their favor, and asked, and the commission gave them that,
Well, I hope you have a full board next month.
I don't think it's gonna be a
It's
full
just a
board.
given, we'll never have a full board?
Very often, I mean, with that many people, it's often you don't get everyone there. So every now and then we do, but it seems like we're always often short at least one.
I mean, if some of those standards fail, isn't the proposal rejected at that point?
It should have been. It should have been. If they weren't all found in the affirmative, then it should have just been done then and there, but there was motions made to move on, and our chair was not present at the last meeting, but we did get a letter from Clerk Lucero with his inspection with him and the building inspector, Bomarito. They agree that it probably should be postponed until they meet the criteria with the build out and being, they get occupancy of it. So, because they currently do not have any livable spaces.
So is the postponement on the special land use or the bed and breakfast approval? Those are two separate.
So it would be the special land use approval. If it, again, I'm not the chair of that board, but they made motions to approve or deny and
Special land use.
special land use, which got nowhere. It didn't meet the standards, so we shouldn't even be continuing with it, but.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that if you don't meet the standards, that you just don't vote. I think you still have a vote.
I don't think so.
It's written, unfortunately.
Yeah, the way
I'll
it's
pull it
written
up.
is.
Yeah, well, I disagree. I think you still have to have a vote. I don't.
Sorry.
I don't know what's going on. Like, it works if I do this, but it doesn't work if I talk into it.
Maybe turn it off and pull them.
Want to switch them out?
Hello? Any better? Not really. Okay, so at the end of the day, I guess we have to figure out. Figure out what we need to do and which one you need to take first, and if it requires a vote, well, figure that out.
Yeah. I concur.
Okay. Trustee Care,
No
should I
report
ask
at
you?
this time.
Okay. You did have in here your treasurer report. You can see the interest to date. Clerk Lucero, do you have a report?
So I do. Here it is.
I don't know if it's any good.
Can you guys hear me?
No.
No? No one can? All right, I'll just yell. I got a large voice. So went to a conference, so that kind of, we're getting back to normal in the office. Still waiting because of everything leading up to that, and then coming back in. Don't have an update for, I've been playing a little bit of tag with Mr. Mitten for the rest of the electrical. Spoke with Mr. Bomarito. He's coming in on Wednesday. We're going to go over the wall to make the mechanical room. There's some questions if we need 2 vents or just one, so the mechanical, so the furnace can breathe. And then OSHA, we're still good with them. If I could, President Poznansky read my letter, but I feel like it's worth, and now I don't have, okay. I had submitted a letter to planning, and based on everything that I saw and Mr. Bomarito saw within the Gray House and the things that Mr. Parker just spoke about, our lead building inspector and I believe that this is not an actual single-family residence right now. The way the state code is written, if it's past 50%, it is not, it's considered new construction. It is way past 50%. I'm not saying it can't exist as a bed and breakfast. For me, because I'm all about procedure and doing things in order, I feel as though he's jumping steps, and I get it from a business standpoint. You're trying to ensure that the money that you're putting out there is insured in a way, but that's just not how it goes. So I'm going to try to fire off and read this on the record here too. And I know that the president read it, but I wrote to the commissioner and said, "Dear esteemed commissioners of the Village of Romeo Planning Commission, this letter concerns the above referenced special land use application that was tabled at the last meeting and will again be before you June 2nd, which it was supposed to be the 5th, sorry. Regretfully, I'm unable to attend the meeting to discuss this matter in person. On Friday, May 2nd, I met with a handful of concerned residents to discuss the proposed plans for 273 Chandler. A number of issues and concerns were raised, and while I could not validate all of the claims made at this meeting, I left feeling concerned myself. The fact that we, the village, had so few answers concerning this property left me with more questions than answers. Because of this, I was prompted to watch the recording of the May 1st Planning Commission meeting, Village of Romeo Planning Commission meeting, May 1st, with the YouTube link. In this video, Mr. Wells' own statements at times seemed to substantiate the claims made by the concerned group on May 2nd. After speaking with the Village of Romeo's lead building inspector, Mike Bomarito, I decided to investigate the matter further. On Monday, May 5th, 2025, I made contact with the property owner and applicant, Mr. Dale Wells. During the brief phone call, I explained that I was not well versed in his case and was hoping to get caught up to speed to make sure that he met the requirements of the village. It was during that call I requested Mr. Wells grant a walkthrough of the property by Mr. Bomarito and myself. Mr. Wells happily obliged and offered to meet us at 273 Chandler around noon. Upon arriving, Mr. Wells walked Mr. Bomarito and myself through the entire building known as the Gray House. He showed us the proposed plans as we discussed his vision. What surprised me was just how little was actually there in terms of overall structure. I was aware that the property required quite a bit of work, but I did not realize the size, scope, and scale required to renovate this building until now. Simply put, a majority of the rooms and finished areas within the proposed plans are non-existent, and as such will require a considerable amount of construction to bring these plans to fruition. Per the plans by Deanna Associates, there will be 4 finished floors. First floor plan shows a guest suite as well as a large kitchen and bar. Second floor plan shows 5 guest suites, a manager's office, and manager's suite. The third floor plan shows 3 guest suites and a seating area. The finished basement shows a plan for the bar, lounge, TV room, a wine cellar, and a game room. All guest suites as well as a manager's suite are to have an ensuite bathroom. On the first floor, the kitchen and bar area nor the suite exist. The space where the suite is to exist is part of a large open room that will require build-out. The kitchen and bar area are wide open space. Second floor, suites 2, 3, and 4 exist in that they are identifiable as rooms. Suite 5 has 2 walls that are studs only. Suite 6, the manager's office, and manager's suite do not exist, and a large wide open space similar to the kitchen and bar below. None of the proposed bathrooms on the second floor exist. On the third floor, the space is wide open and overlooks the second floor where the manager's office and suite are to be. Suites 7, 8, and 9 do not exist, nor do the bathrooms or the seating area. I'll fast forward a little bit. One of the requirements per our zoning laws is that the rooms utilized for lodging purposes shall be part of a primary residential use and shall not have been specifically constructed for rental purposes. This is not a single-family residence right now. It's taxed as such. It's not, you can't live there. It has no C of O. Anybody who lived there would be condemned. And that's my sticking point. And I go on further in the letter and I say that Mr. Wells is jumping the process. He isn't just skipping line. He is leapfrogging the entire process, and that's what he's doing. Again, I'm not saying a bed and breakfast can't exist there, but you have to do things the right way. And when we're talking about that, he's leapfrogging all kinds of things. So Mr. Bomarito and myself will be at the next planning commission to discuss this and why we feel that this is cart before the horse, why it should not be, it does not match any of the definitions of the state, but also the planning commission, when we talk about procedures and legislative measures, and I get that this is cumbersome, and this is not you, this is just you're supposed to just vote until it dies. Like, you have to show that you have exhausted all efforts to come to an agreement or resolution, and that you are at an impasse, so it dies. And the last two meetings, it has been an up and down vote, two of them, and then it's just, okay, well, let's just move on. And it doesn't matter if it's the same motion over and over again. You're hoping that someone moves on. You have to have at least, 3 or 4 rounds of it, or you make amendments to satisfy other members to hopefully come to a resolution. The problem in all of this is that Mr. Wells's counsel said that they are entitled to a full board. They are not entitled. By the law, there is no precedent set that states that the Village of Romeo is to grant them the entire board. The law, the Planning Commission Act, and even the Open Enabling Act and the Open Meetings Act states as long as you have a quorum, you're a board. You guys could have done business. And he bullied the board a little bit and was using verbiage that was indicative that he would likely try to sue us. Go ahead. You guys if you guys have a quorum, you guys have the power to conduct yourselves as if whether or not you were a body of 9 or a body of 5. And at this point, you guys need to vote. It needs to be up and down. This is going on over a year. I could pull this administratively. I won't do it because this is something that happened way before my time here. What I will say is that this has changed the way we're going to start doing things for SLU. From now on, when people come in for an SLU, it is going to trigger Mr. Bomarito going out to make sure that it is allowable, because that would have stopped this. He would have went there and said, this is not even a house. You can't, no, we're not approving any kind of SLU until you get your C of O, and then go down the line on how so in a way, it's good. In a way, it's still bad, because we're still dealing with this over a year later. It's wasting a whole lot of time and resources on the village behalf, with you guys always meeting and still, they're trying to whip their votes and trying to figure it out. And I know I went way over my 3 minutes, and I apologize. But this is something that it needs to be decided. And if you guys are going round and round and round and round, and it's a bit much, and you guys can't come to a decision, and you guys just want to be done with it, unfortunately, you got to come to a resolution, because postponing it is not doing anything at this point. I think that's been proven. And some of the members that have called me with concerns to my letter said we didn't even know the condition of it, which is why it's now going to be standard practice that myself and a building official are going to go out there and ensure that this thing exists and can be moved forward. Anything.
Anything else for your clerk's report?
No, I'm so sorry. That was a lot.
Well, then we'll see you at the next planning commission.
Yeah, that was a lot. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We jest, not really.
Longest report ever.
Okay, well, mine will be a lot shorter. Let's keep it to that. Just a few things. Our Ford Task Force met again. We're moved to quarterly at this point. There's not a lot of movement going on. You'll see it later in your budget amendments if you haven't noticed it already. We will go further into depth, but at that time I was able to apprise our task force of our update on the LCSA personal property tax loss that the village has incurred in Ford pulling out. We are now seeing the effects of that. And again, we'll talk about that in our budget, or later in our budget amendments, and what that all means and for the village.
The other thing is we are partnering with the Department of Health and Community Services. I was reached out by Macomb Regional Housing Partnership. They have conducted their first round of public engagement sessions with the community regarding community and housing needs assessment. The sessions were designed to gather feedback from residents regarding their housing-related concerns, ideas, and needs. They were shared that there was additional sessions that would take place in July, because by the time they sent me the notice of their meeting, it was literally that day. I go, did I just receive an email for a meeting happening today for my residents? Oh yeah, I go, well, that was pointless. So anyways, so they did say there will be more in July. I go, oh, that's fabulous. And they said, well, would you like to host one? I said, yes, we would. So on July 15th, here in this room, 5:30 to 7 o'clock, there will be a meeting. So any of our local community members, any residents are able to come that day and actually learn and participate in that meeting this time. Another thing, not every resident, but if you happen to be a resident that got a postcard in your mailbox that looks similar to this, maybe you have blue paint or a blue flag at your curb, that is because you are part of the very first round of exterior verifications for our lead line verification, where we got the $330,000 from Eagle. So there's just over 100 of those in this first round. What you'll see is about 12 to 18-inch diameter on either side of that curb stop, literally like they suck out a whole tube of dirt about 4 or 5 feet deep. Look down there and go, yep, that is galvanized, or that is lead, or it's not. And then they throw the dirt back in there and they assess that, write it down and do that. So that is what that is for. If you do not remove the flag, please leave it there so everybody knows where the work needs to be done. Maybe next time you'll be included, and then you will see the blue line and the blue flag, and then you'll get a flyer. So don't feel left out if you didn't get one, because you just might still. Vintage Fest this Saturday, June 21st, 10 to 6. Lots of great things going on downtown. Vintage cars, kids' activities, all the stuff. So come on out and have fun. And then lastly, and very unfortunately, I do have to share with you this email I did receive saying thank you for submitting your funding request for the fiscal year 2026 Community Project Funding Program. We greatly appreciate your time, effort, and dedication you put into developing your proposal and advocating for the needs of our community. This year saw record interest in the program with roughly 70 applications submitted to our office. Members of Congress are restricted to only 15 submissions per year for consideration by the House Appropriations Committee, meaning that many worthwhile projects are not able to be brought forward. Given these constraints, we regret to inform you that we were unable to advance your project for consideration this cycle. This decision is in no way a reflection of the merit or significance of your proposal, but rather a result of the highly competitive nature of the process. We recognize the vital work being done throughout Michigan's 9th Congressional District and remain committed to supporting initiatives that strengthen our communities. I sincerely hope to work with you in exploring alternative funding opportunities or assisting with resubmission in fiscal year 27. Please do not hesitate to reach out. Lisa McLean. So we did not get our funding. So we continue to move forward just as we were. Hopefully we will be resubmitting, but some work does need to get done. We will need to fund it. Maybe we can just recoup some funds. Maybe we get 6 instead of 9 down the road. I don't know, but that's where we're at, unfortunately. Chief, did you have a report?
Not much of one. Just reiterating what Madam President said, reminding everybody that this weekend is Village Fest, or Vintage Fest rather, our first festival of the summer for Romeo. You'll see a bit of a pivot this year in how we protect that event. I think all of you are aware that from month one, that was my greatest concern, is how we protect the public that attends. Historically, we've just put up lean-tos that say police, no vehicles beyond this point. That's just a recommendation, right? And we've seen around the world more and more of these vehicle-borne attacks happening. This weekend, all of our patrol cars that would typically be sitting in a parking lot will be strategically placed as blockades, including the 2 Tahoes that are at DPW waiting to be built. And Selfish Air National Guard Base was gracious enough to loan us their water barricade systems. So those will be put up around the patrol cars, all 4 corners. Very heavy when they're full. I'll be in first thing Saturday morning to position everything, at which time the fire department will be sending over their tanker truck to fill the water barricades. So hopefully what's step 1 in the right direction to better protect the public who's out in the middle of Main Street.
And thank you for your protection this weekend and just keeping an eye on the protest. It went great. Protesters, nothing.
And we did have that, was uneventful. So
Very uneventful.
Just how we like it.
Yep.
Any questions?
Nope. Thanks, Chief.
Okay.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
The July 15th meeting, is that at 7 p.m.?
Correct. Nope, that one is 5:30 to 7.
Okay, thank you.
July 15th,
Here?
right?
Yes, the 15th, July. Yep.
DHS.
They are working on a flyer. They just did not have it. We just confirmed, this email was just the other day, right before June 11th. So there was not enough time before the packet. They're still going to get me a flyer and we'll post it everywhere. Share it.
Thank you.
Okay, committee reports. Bruce Sewer, I know you guys met. You've seen the information. So at this point, you know, we really don't have the capacity to share. What is the committee doing?
We met, and, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I thought Jim was gonna look and get a hold of some people there.
Yeah, we had talked about looking at what the cost of expansion might be, because right now, yes, we do not have capacity. But I don't know if HRC, and we talked about that a little bit, if HRC has those numbers readily available. And that's something that I was going to come back to the committee with. If it's not something they readily have the numbers for, and I'm one of 3, it's up to you guys. I don't necessarily think right now, with where the village is at, we should be spending money on engineering if they don't have those numbers readily available, because it's going to be predicated on whether or not we can expand up, like you guys had said. If we can expand up and they have that, cool. But if we don't have anything, because we don't have anywhere to go right now,
We'll see what they got, because last time they didn't give us a full-blown quote.
Yeah.
They just gave us a thumbs up, like,
yeah, you can do it.
And it's gonna be maybe roughly around this much.
Yeah,
You know,
they
just,
they had some proposed, like
They
you
didn't
said,
have
not
any exact
but
numbers.
They had some proposed stuff back when.
So see if
that
they
was,
can-
what, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
When we first started talking about it, and they said it could be done, and they had some proposed numbers, so yeah, I don't
Because
think we should be.
you don't want them
on
spending the money to,
engineering, but if they have us a
Well, yeah, and it-
ballpark, then we can go back to Bruce and say,
It just
hey,
kind of makes me scratch my head that, well, so the conversation has gone to potentially expanding, but it's not that we need to expand because we need the capacity.
right.
It's because somebody else needs the capacity. Where at the same time in the conversation, when we did offer some, at the time we thought we had it, they didn't even want to pay for that. I don't see them then paying for an expansion. Do you know what I'm saying? If you didn't want to pay the 1 million when we offered it to you, they're not going to be paying tens of millions
well,
for an
the
expansion.
other thing that was thrown out there is maybe going ahead and looking more into that North Macomb facility. You know, and us becoming that North Macomb facility.
Right, and I think that would be great, grand, and wonderful, but
Yep.
again, where is it gonna go? And that, at that point in time, I feel like that was just under 70 million.
That's probably
That was the conversation at that time. So we need a means and a property.
yeah, those numbers were off, though, when we saw that 70 million, because Armada Township, when it was a meeting with Candace at her office, and Armada Township had included way more in their numbers than they thought they had done, so that was quite high.
Was it?
And don't know if they ever came back with another proposal after that, after they adjusted or made it townships numbers.
I never saw a second
No,
proposal.
we saw the first one, and then that was it.
Well, I just feel that for Bruce Township, they want an answer. We need to give them an answer. And at this moment, looking at the numbers, the answer is we don't have the capacity. They need to know how to pivot. They need to move their community one way or another. We can still continue to move our subcommittee forward, looking into things, but they need to know how to step forward. They've been waiting on our answer for a while.
If it were me, I would say, because we had talked about where we're at, we're around that 15% retainage that Eagle likes you to be at. If we offer anything more, it's gonna be drastically lower, and it will likely trigger us walking into some sort of audit with Eagle where they're gonna be looking at us. I don't disagree. I would love to see, to talk to Candace and look at, I mean, I'd said that back in January. I'd love to do that with all of our assets that we have, figure out a way to have them become contracted services throughout the area and be a North Macomb hub for DPW, police, water, or sewer. That'd be great, but we need to figure out how that goes forward.
Right, but I
The simple short answer is we don't have it. And a lot of that's because we have to have the space set aside for the Ford property.
yeah. So
So we're talking potential future needs, right? And I know you mentioned this in the last meeting also, that you need to have that held, but I've never seen that. Everything we've always had and discussed, even with HRC and with Mark Clark, was that you can't get to that flow rate. When you get to 80-85% actual flow, then they start hounding on you. How are you gonna fix this? What's your plan? And if we've got property that potentially couldn't be developed for decades, I mean, some of this has sat there for decades.
They look at that as already gone, though.
So then, before we did the last expansion, we were definitely in the hole, because the property's been there, right? And we did a 500,000 expansion, and now we're still at that same threshold.
I think it's a worthwhile conversation. I think the village has a lot of other things that it needs to focus on right now.
Yeah.
And Bruce needs to have an answer.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess the short answer is no, we don't have it.
I mean, I can still go forward and check with HRC what they have, but I would say the interim, yeah, it would be a no, because we don't.
could you provide the information that says we have to have?
Yeah, I'll look it up. Because it's also my understanding that the way that Eagle looks at it is, pardon me, whatever vacant property you have and whatever metric they're using, because I know with residential it's per head, and then with commercial it's land mass. That goes in there, but it doesn't matter if it's developed. In their mind, it's taken, because by right it's that property owner's.
Well, it's like Bruce already having contracted their 510. They don't always use the 510, but we can't say that, oh, well, now we'll give you more, because it's actually used. That is set aside, just like ours is set aside for any potential development for all of these properties. Whether it's turned on or not, doesn't mean you don't account for it. We couldn't resell Bruce the capacity that we've already set aside for them, because it's not being used yet. So here, have more that's not being used. It doesn't.
Well, we don't want to carry on a board meeting or a committee meeting here, but maybe we should set another date here and get back together, because we should contact HRC.
Well, in the short, I'll send on an email to Bruce, let them know at this time there's no capacity, but the subcommittee will still meet and look into, see what potential can be done down the road. All right. Ethics, we have not met. Now that we're past budget, do you guys want to meet this month?
Yeah, we
July?
can schedule right now if you'd like.
No? Sure. Would you be?
I just want to get the ball rolling and get that off the agenda.
Throw out a date.
Next Wednesday? Mondays and Wednesdays are best for me.
I'm actually leaving this week to go up to Isle Royale, so I would have to actually post at least a week and a half away.
So July, that's 4th of July week, so no. So now we're looking into the second week of July.
Monday the 7th?
I'm open.
We can meet back there.
Monday, July 7th?
You want to meet in the back?
Sure.
Okay. Let's do that. Okay, Ethics Subcommittee.
What time?
7?
At 7.
7? Okay. Okay, moving into our agenda. An hour later. DDA appointment. I did receive Tom Stevens' letter of interest. Last month, a motion was made, however, appointments are made by president appointment, board confirmation. I did not put Mr. Stevens onto the table to be voted on. So now, tonight at this meeting, I am putting Mr. Stevens up onto the table to be voted on.
I'll make a motion to appoint Tom Stevens to the DDA board.
Support?
We have a motion by Parker, support by Edwards. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
So is it just one seat that was open?
At the time, yes.
Okay.
Well, there was 2 last month.
Well, yeah.
And one, she had made
Well, I
a
put
recommendation.
2 people onto the floor. One of them was confirmed.
Yes.
This council put somebody on the floor. It's not really a valid vote, so now it's valid.
So we have a full board now for DDA.
For the moment. Moving into our joint council and DDA meeting, the DDA came back confirming that they would be open July 14th at 7 o'clock. So just put that in here for us. I can send out a notice that day, just an agenda, so it puts it in your mind a few days before to come out, send you your email notification. Moving on to our new business, our council meeting dates. Do we have a motion to approve the meeting dates for 25-26?
Motion to approve the meeting dates for 25-26 fiscal year.
Support.
I have a motion by Rousseau, support by Parker. Any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have none opposed. Moving into our computer system update purchase. This has been taken care of by Clerk Lucero. I will give you short reins on taking over.
I will be quick. So yeah, this is within, I got 3 different brands from our current IT provider. If it were me, when we're looking at these, the Dells are the most robust system. They're a little bit nicer. They're actually the cheapest, which is good. Lenovo's good, but Lenovo is the second most expensive, and then HP, you kind of just pay for the brand name. But these are the 3 in the commercial realm. So this is what we're looking at now. I did get just purchasing the computers. We can save money just purchasing the computers, but then to have our IT guy go through, and if we're not purchasing through him, and him go through each computer himself and make sure they're good and upload everything, the cost of his work getting all these are built into the price, as where the other one we're spending between 20 and 30% more if we win. So this is by far the most economical way to go through it. I've gone round and round with Jason on this to try and figure this out, and this still comes back the best way. So this is for laptops all in Village Hall with still having one desktop at the front to handle the cash register, and then a number of desktops at wastewater, because they need, I think, 4 or 5, and then a new one over at DPW as well.
And I think one for cemetery.
And then, yeah, and one of the laptops are for cemetery, and they're buying it through us. So it's just collecting for the purchasing, through the purchasing program.
Make a motion to go with Dell for our computer systems update.
Support.
In the amount of $34,618.08.
Support.
We have a motion by Bartholomew, support by Edwards to go with Dell. Could you please call the roll?
Yeah, you need discussion.
No, I apologize. Do we have any discussion?
I made the thought process of trying to buy American. I've tried to look where all these computers are made. They're all made in China.
Thanks for trying.
Yeah, I
Sharing that.
just wanted to share that. It was very fruitless.
Well, at least you checked.
I checked at least.
Any other discussion?
So, just for procedural, right, at this dollar amount, shouldn't this have went out as like a closed bid to obtain, it was after 10, right, we're supposed to be a closed bid?
All I saw on there was just 3, so.
But after
it would
10,000,
take-
it's supposed to be closed. Procedural.
Take a look at the purchasing policy.
I don't have purchase on it. I'd have to, I don't know if I have it on this computer.
So not just 3 different brands, but 3 different companies that would sell us the equipment as well. I guess 3 different brands isn't even a requirement.
Right, no, it's just 3 separate bids, but at the point where you get to the 10 grand threshold, it's supposed to be a closed bid process, and I don't know if it makes any difference because we currently have contract with SYL, but I know you said it would cost more to have them go through everything, but how do we know what the other prices may look like from another source?
I mean, I had them from High Tech. I did have them look at it.
Yeah.
And they were around, I want to say, between 22 and 26 with these brands. But the problem is again, you're then going into to have them delivered to our guy, to have them go through them, and
Yeah, I
they're
understand.
changing multiple
Procedurally,
hands.
I just,
Yeah.
we have a process in place.
I don't have it on this computer because I can't
Do you want to?
attach to our main.
We can table it till the end of the agenda and continue on while he looks it up.
I like what you did there, table, not postpone.
The only problem is that these need to be handled rather soon, because in October, every single computer in the village, even when we order them, it's gonna take a couple months for him to get them right for us, so I don't disagree with you, but that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, no, I respect what you're saying. We try to follow the procedures too.
Is it on our website? Is the purchasing program policy on our website?
I doubt
think
it.
so. It's in P drive, but I can't connect via here.
I can pretty much guarantee you that after 10,000, it's supposed to be closed, sealed, but
Well, I know it for sure said 3, and we got 3, and at least that part.
I mean, if it satisfies you, we can break this up into 3 different invoices.
that kind of.
I know,
I don't know how ethical that is.
I'm
but-
just saying.
What is the delivery, the lag time in this?
It's probably gonna be a month or 2.
Well, it says the bids are only good for 10 days as well, which is a formality most of the time.
Yeah, Jason,
He's our IT.
that's our IT guy. We'll be all right there. But, well, he's doing that because he can't control what the market does, like Trustee Edwards said. Everything is Chinese. If it's American made, it's put together in the US, but it's Chinese components, and with the way tech has gone, I mean, you're now looking at, in the last 3 months, I think it was a 48% bump. So that's probably where that 10 days, but I can see, because there's also a lot of,
Do you have the purchasing policy?
Not with me, no.
Do you have it at home?
Probably, yeah,
I'm just thinking like,
well, yeah, I mean,
reference it and read it before you come, and then we would know when you bring it up. We have a motion and a second on the table. Do we want to vote for it, or do you want to change your motion?
the other question I had before we vote is, what is the need for all of the laptops? Just because you see that there's a little bit of cost difference increase for laptops opposed to desktops in the office.
it's more portability. If someone calls in sick, because we are so stretched thin at the office, they still have the opportunity to work from home. I mean, if any.
I respect that. I mean, that would be a new procedure, right, that we normally haven't done in the past. And do we have anything in place, then policies or use of the village computer or laptop at home, and how do we safeguard that also?
I mean, it's safeguarded in that we have VPNs throughout the village. This is the same thing. It is in the MOU, I believe, for utilizing our tech off-site. I don't necessarily think it's a big issue because the village is ran by 5-6 people, and if one person is not in the office, it collapses. It turns into a matter of things aren't getting done, sometimes critical things. So if we can set up where we have, even if that person is working at 50% capacity, but they're still doing their job and helping out, it helps immensely. We have a payroll department that is one person, and if they get sick, nobody's getting paid. So stuff like that, for me, the means.
I'm not denying the need, Jay. I'm just thinking that we don't have anything in place to safeguard, obviously, information or a policy in place that, it's for village business only.
You do have things to safeguard it because one of the things I had found, there is an MOU and there's also state law that governs over the village as well for dissemination and even just data breaches and infrastructure and technology because a number of years ago, I think it was about 6, the village had someone who ransomed the village. So there are things in place now that everything, this computer is on a VPN, everybody's computer would be on a VPN. That's part of what I'm trying to do here in the village is have a central data bank to where if you're offsite, you are connected to us securely. It doesn't matter if you're on McDonald's Wi-Fi. No one's breaking into our computers, and that's what Jason has worked quite laboriously on fixing for the village as far as tech. So to that end, and it's in the MOU, like you can't use your computer for personal. You're not supposed to use it for personal email. You're not supposed to use it for personal social media. Yeah, it's on the MOU that you're not supposed to use.
We created that policy a handful of years ago.
Yeah, so it is there. There is that as far as, because a lot of people get their Facebook hacked all the time because they click on the wrong thing. Can't use it. And I mean, if someone does take a computer home and that is found, I mean, that's a serious offense. You can get reprimanded for that. So there are stuff like that. And per the state, the IPPA, which is the Internet Protection and Privacy Act, we have to adhere to that and the practices therein, which we are a little behind the 8 ball on, and they've given wide breadth, and I'm so sorry, I said I'd be quick, and this is not being quick. But yeah, so we have to follow the governing laws as far as being a governmental agency and being secure, because we have people's tax data, and we have all of our employees' personal identification and stuff like that, so.
I mean, if you'd like to review the policies, look over them and see if there's anything that needs to be added,
Yeah,
by all means.
Yeah, because if I could add to that, I think I have a human resource type question that maybe we would need Mark to answer. But how does that work if someone calls in sick and they're gonna get paid a sick day, but then they're at home and they can do some work? Can we ask them to work while they're at home sick? Do they just volunteer to work? How do you count their sick time? Like, I have a lot of questions in regard to, if they're homesick, they have the right to be homesick. We shouldn't be asking them, and they shouldn't be volunteering.
So the Oakland County, they have a hybrid schedule where, well, certain departments do. My wife works for the veterans benefits side of things, and they can flex at home days if they're not feeling well. They can say, I'm going to stay at home and work from home. They have the same thing. They have VPN, they have secure access, everything else. And they work from home and they log in, and you can see when they log into their computer, it says when they're on. So if someone is sick and they are working and they have things, deliverables they have to do, we can see what they're working on just by virtue of the fact that they're logged into BSNA.
Well, and I think there's a difference, and to your point, we would have to figure it out. There's a difference between, I feel like I'm getting sick and I don't want to come and affect the whole office, and a difference between, I am sick and I cannot work or open my eyes or sit at, you know. So there's a little bit of both.
I mean, yeah, because since we are such a close knit, we have had a few days where someone's like, hey, I'm feeling scratchy, and it's like, stay home. Because we are so, like, there was twice this last winter where it just went through and everybody was gone at least one day because everybody got sick quick. So there have been a couple times of, you feel a little under the weather, stay home. Now, if we had that option of stay home, you have your computer, you can work at home, I'm fine with that. It's just more efficient for us to do that rather than have
It's
it
nothing new,
completely
it's just
wasted
new to
day.
us, so it's easy to figure out. Other people have done it.
I'd still like to
So
see
can we vote on this motion?
postponed until we
Yeah, so
follow the procedure.
you do. We have a motion by Bartholomew, second by Edwards. So you continuing with your motions and support?
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion?
I mean, I've been strolling through our website, trying to look up the ordinances. And in this situation, all I see, it's funny enough, the website leaves the dollar amount blank. But I remember it being $10,000, but I checked two different sites that are generic and Romeo's site, all of them have it blank. But any product or service, the cost of which exceeds the above dollar amount shall be purchased only if prior approval by the village has been obtained, by the village council has been obtained. So it's not, it doesn't say that we need to get 3 comparable options, just that we have the ability to approve it.
Because it talks about a sealed bid.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
You know what
give
section it'd be under?
That's not the right one.
Well, it wouldn't be
No.
in the ordinances because it's a policy
Yeah, it's a
of this
policy.
board at
Yeah.
this table.
Yeah, this is purchasing responsibilities.
Yeah, that's different.
Okay, so do we want to vote or do you not want to vote?
I'd rather see it follow the procedure,
We
policy.
got some things to consider.
Table it.
Yeah.
Well, it would have to be
We have a
pulled.
motion, yeah. Bartholomew wants to go forward with this motion. Edwards, do you still support?
You want to table?
Why not?
Postpone.
Okay, we'll postpone. I'll withdraw my motion and we'll
Okay.
go with postponement
We don't need a vote for that.
for next month.
For next month, yes.
Well, as soon as you get the bids.
Okay.
Moving into the CBD Parking / PILOP. I put this on here. You can read Karen's opinion. We've ran into an issue in the village that we've never had before because PILOP never had an amount, so there was never the ability to purchase the parking. Now there is the ability to purchase the parking, and residential is purchasing parking. And so we've gone round in circles of was that the intent of PILOP? PILOP was more so business, or is it not? What do we want it to do? Because the way that the ordinance is written, it does say that any use within the CBD district to participate in the PILOP program, which would mean even the residential could purchase parking. So, for instance, we have two residential, they needed 4 parking spaces, they only had 3. Or they only had 2, however it was. So they came in and purchased 1 or 2 spaces so that they could still have the ability to have the residential there. That's how this all came about, is that what we intended? And if not, we can adjust the ordinance.
I don't think that's what any of us had in mind. I think we're all thinking commercial.
Well, yeah, can we clarify the residential, when we're talking residential, we're talking the actual single-family homes? that
No,
fall
residences
under-
above
So we're talking.
Residences in
rental-
CBD.
CBD.
Rental property.
You could own it, you could rent it, I don't know,
Yeah.
but you need parking when you have it.
I
Yeah,
guess.
But not, we're not talking the houses. Because there's no reason for them to have a payment.
No, we're talking
Everybody
about, like,
that comes
everybody
in
who's
needs a
above.
certain amount of off-street parking. If you don't have enough on your
I
property,
understand.
a
But
house
we're
should
talking-
have enough.
We're talking businesses then, commercial property. I'm just separating the actual residential houses.
We're talking CBD, DDA downtown. It will incorporate both.
If I have a single-family residence on, what is it, Wall Street, right, that falls in the DDA, I have no need or reason to come for the payment in lieu of.
Correct, so you're not gonna come by any.
Yeah, so when we're talking the residential, we're talking property that is 99% rented as a business. So I think it does apply.
Well, it does, and that's what we're saying, it does. And if
Yeah.
that's not what we intended, then we need to change it.
Mhm.
So we have to
Yeah.
think about what is our intention here with this.
Yeah.
That's why I brought the question up.
Yeah.
If you want more time to think about it, we don't have to make a decision tonight, but this needed to be looked at. Do we want it to include? Because what that does is put further burden of parking on the downtown. Do we want that? Do we not want to include it? 'Cause currently it does.
I don't see, yeah, where we have an argument. I mean, it's kind of like they're in the district.
Yeah.
Something to
should
consider
be able to
too,
do
because
it.
this came up from a different discussion. If you guys do that for the residences down there, then what does the village do? Is it some kind of permitting process, like 150, 250 a year, you get a permit, you can park overnight, barring no major inclement weather?
Well, no,
right?
because they don't
But then-
actually get so you have to think
Yeah,
of
they
it
don't
this
get
way.
but I'm
Just
saying
like a
it's on
restaurant,
top of it.
a homeowner or resident would just be just like a restaurant, and the restaurant patrons cannot park there overnight, neither could a resident.
Right.
So the parking lots and the timing of them, that there's no parking overnight, still goes. It just allows these people to now use this use as a residence. So if they've obtained their SLU and they needed an extra parking space, they can purchase it.
So we're
It's just something
basically
that's
then
never
setting-
happened before, because
Right.
we've never had it, and I wanted to make sure. I mean, I don't know why it couldn't, they can't live in the same world, but if these property owners rent it and think that they're actually gonna get an overnight parking space, is not the case.
Yeah, I guess I was marrying two separate things that we're dealing with, but yeah.
What's the overnight part? I see.
They're just like PILOP for the restaurant. If you needed 20, now you come by 5, now you can be here.
Right.
You still only get your 3 at your home for sure. And just like anybody else during the daytime of the hours of the parking lot, anyone could park there anytime you wanted, resident or not, or business.
Question I've
But
never
nobody
thought
gets
about.
overnight parking.
Like, where do,
I mean,
or
certain,
they all have their own lots currently?
certain ones have their own lots, but they don't have enough spaces for the residences. This is kind of how this came about. So you might have 2 residences where they get 2 spots each, but they only have 3 spots back there, and per our ordinances, then they need to, PILOP would fit, or they'd have to go seek a variance, right? So that's kind of in that too.
It's helpful in the area that it allows the mixed use, diversifies the downtown, allows more uses.
Yeah, but if they can't park there overnight, then where are
They can park on their own spots.
Yeah, but if they don't have it, and they have to
Yeah,
park
that's
somewhere else.
the
You don't
problem.
rent it to somebody that needs more than 3 parking spaces. There's just, how it has to be.
Yeah,
You're allowed here now because you bought into it, and just understand that you still only really have 3 parking spaces. You're just now allowed to
I guess I don't.
exist.
Allowing housing when you don't have parking, like, never mind.
Well,
It's a can of worms, but.
It's a bit of a Pandora's box.
It
when you get
is,
into it.
it is, because you shouldn't allow housing that you don't have parking spots for, but that's kind of gone, so.
That would be
so
saying you
that's
shouldn't
something
allow
agree.
restaurants because you don't have parking for them.
Right.
Like, it is what it is. But we can
Yeah, I guess if it's
postpone this until next meeting, chew on a little bit more.
If it's approved
but
occupancy.
Sounds
of
good.
Just
those
wanted to-
buildings And they can meet all the standards,
Mm-hmm.
it's well past the PILOP issue, it's, I mean, you're talking ordinances.
Well, the problem is the current ordinance is,
Oh, you could just say
it's
it's just
vague,
for restaurants.
it argues both sides, and we've
business.
gone back and forth. One of it says, any use, and then it says business use, so it's like, well, which is it? Because in the beginning it says any, and then at the bottom it says business, so do you go with the very first one that you read, or do you go with the second one? And so that's been something that we've been banging our heads at the
Yeah.
office on.
Because I don't think the intention there was that, but it can all work together. Just want to make sure that's what we're all.
As long as they understand they can't park overnight.
Yeah.
So we'll throw it back on next month's agenda, and if, we'll see what we all come back with, and we can leave it alone or change some verbiage.
Postponing another.
Yep.
Tree board appointment, I did have somebody come in and submit application, Miss Terry Bullard. So her application is here, and I would put her on the table for appointment.
I'll make a motion to appoint Terry Bowler to the tree board.
Support.
We have a motion by Care, support by Parker. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of appointing Terry Bullard to the tree board?
Aye.
Do we have any opposed? We have none opposed. Okay, moving into our water sewer rate update. We first saw the information, got a whole presentation at our special meeting. Now it is here at the table. Do we have any discussion? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed updated water and sewer rates as presented.
Support?
We have a motion by Edwards, support by Bartholomew. Do we have any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, could you please call a roll?
Yes.
Parker.
No.
Bartholomew.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Care.
Yes.
Roslin.
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes. Okay. Moving into our approval of the DDA budget. We saw the budget, we went over it at the table. DDA has approved it, and so here it is before us. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the DDA budget as presented.
Support.
We have a motion by Care, support by Edwards. Do we have discussion? Hearing none, could you please call a roll?
Care.
Yes.
Roslin.
No.
Bartholomew.
Yes.
Parker.
No.
Edwards.
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes.
4-2.
Okay, moving into our budget amendments. I don't know if you guys took the time, I asked Plant Moran to write up information on how we got to the LCSA, which is Local Community Stabilization Authority. What that is so across the state, there's extra revenue dispersed, and it's given based on need. And in the past, the village has scored, I don't know if you'd want to say high or low, depending on what you're looking at there, but we did not have, we had a very big need. So our cost share from the state would compensate for that. Well, now that we've gone enough tax years, Ford officially closed in '22, and when they decommissioned the plant and pulled out all of that personal property, they, in decommissioning the plant, no longer could get their, they would get a tax exemption. So then all of that personal property came back onto our tax rolls. So what used to be about $500,000 in personal property is now at 14 million. So what we used to have a big need and get a big share of the pie from the state, well, now we all of a sudden have 14 million, and the state looks at it and goes, well, now you don't need a big piece of the pie, to the tune of $500,000. However, we get to tax that $14 million, so we recoup about 200 of it, so that's where we end up with the about $300,000 loss. And that is in this current budget that ends at the end of June. We needed to find an extra $300,000, and that is perpetually going forward until something is figured out at that property and moves in and we get to start recouping taxes. So that is a major hit to our budget, to everything going forward. And then, I don't know if you wanted to speak to.
Yeah. So when I came on board, one of the things I had found, the previous administration excluded a new employee at the time from the pension. They are due a pension. You cannot do that coming from the financial realm. ERISA doesn't cover public, but there are a lot of public laws that mimic private entity laws, like NLR. PARA mimics the NLRA for the way unions are governed, and the Pension Act within the state mimics ERISA. And what ERISA states is, if you are entitled to it, you cannot be denied it. They were wholly denied, and then it wasn't until about 2 years later before this board modified what the qualified hours were for pension, which means they are beholden to the original. And they were entitled, it's an entitlement that they were, I mean, they're due it. And unfortunately, it's just is what it is. They've been great in this all, I mean, because this is a...
When I came into office, it was brought to my attention to ask me to look into it. With getting into office and doing all the things, looking into it, and then when Jamie came into office, I asked him to, this needs to get figured out, because it was not getting figured out. So that's where you'll see your amendment there on the first page under Village Hall and Grounds.
Now, we can go after the bond, the previous administration, but it's gonna be maybe 40% of it, it's something. But yeah, this is.
So, we had a employee who came in, at that current time, they didn't meet the hours worked.
No, they did.
No, they did.
They did meet the qualifications, and they were.
They met them then, or they met them
They
after
met them
it was
then.
amended?
They met them then.
Okay, the way you worded it, I thought you said we then changed it a couple.
No, you
years
guys,
later.
the village did change it, but they're still on the old because it wasn't
Okay, so
reflected
they met
correctly.
before, even though it was changed.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I mean,
Yeah, we have looked at this all the different ways. asked
there's
all the
just-
questions, seeing if we could come at it from a different angle, and it's not legally allowed. So unfortunately, this is where we're at with that too.
And unfortunately, public pensions, unlike, in the private realm, you can buy out pensions, public, you can't. Because we even looked at that, well, what if we just give a lump sum buyout into their defined contribution, and just make amends that way? And they were open to it. They're like, yeah, I mean, it's, because they don't want to hurt the village either. You know, this is not a measure to hurt us by any means, but at the same time, I get where they're at.
And it took MERS, this has been, we've asked them for an actuarial, it's taken them, I feel like over 6 months to get us a real
This has
number.
been since October. Figuring
So
this
this
out.
is a significant amount of money. How far,
2019.
okay. And the person's still with us, it sounds like.
Yes.
So those are some
And
of
they're
the.
committed to us.
Those are some of the bigger things that you see in here. Do you have any other questions for the amendments? Any more clarifications on the things that we've talked about?
With the Ford property, they're saying that it's inactive, they're not using anything out there? Is that,
The plant is closed, it's decommissioned, however you want to say it.
they don't have any tenants in there?
It's closed, it's decommissioned.
Yeah, the way that Plant Moran explained it to me is that it was reported there's no active, it doesn't matter if anybody's in there or not. This is based on manufacturing, and there is no active manufacturing going on there, so
You see,
this is all taxation from manufacturing.
in December 22, Ford Motor Company closed their Romeo engine plant. Ford Motor Company filed the rescission of their eligible manufacturing personal property exemption in tax year 2024.
So if someone else is leasing, then they should be filing.
Yeah. Yeah, we would get that money back depending, and that was based on the scale they were at that time. So if you get that place at 100% capacity, it's based on the scale of manufacturing, I believe, that tax. Which is all the more reason why, you know, as a board, it would behoove this board to reach out to the county executive and his team to see what their plans are for us. Because I know the
Well,
president and I have.
I've moved this on to them, JP. They're looking to see if there's anything at the state level, anything that they can see and find to help us recoup some of these losses in this year and the continuing years.
Does Plant Moran have anything to say? Or this doesn't affect them at all? And they have no suggestions?
It's a tax loss. I mean, I don't know what you would want.
I mean, they're helping us identify some grants and stuff, but as far as this, it's, as far as their purview, their purview is the numbers in front of them, and this is what hit.
What about Gretchen Whitmer? What does she have to say about filling the plant? Has anyone ever reached out to her?
I don't know. No, I don't have her number.
They can try, but
So I'll make a motion to approve our budget amendments as presented.
We have a motion by Bartholomew,
Support?
support by Edwards. Do we have any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, could you please call the roll?
Rasa,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I was trying to swallow water. Sorry.
Parker,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes. Moves us into,
Do you need a motion looking at going back on a bond?
we've already been making phone calls, seeing what we can even do.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next item is, put this on here for discussion. We often get phone calls from residents, when are my roads getting done? So I know that we've talked about it, whether or not people are plugged into that or not, but we've yet to make a decision on where we want to go with this. So I threw in here just some of the background, how we got here, where we were with the roads, the stuff, for all of us to kind of refresh our memories here. Was on the ballot. We did go out for the 4.59. It did pass. The improvements have been done and the money has been used. We have even used extra. We cannot fund the rest of the roads on our own with what we do have, and hearing where we're at with all this information. Want the council to think about what we want to do. I did ask Washington Township, what that would look like if we put something on the ballot. Are we putting a bond out for the roads? Are we doing mills for public safety? Like, where are we getting this from? We would need the language by August, approved by August. She did say that at this point, Ms. Clerk Brown, that there is nothing on the ballot, so we would have to fully fund that election ourselves. And we would get that bill after. So I couldn't even give you a guesstimate as what the cost is. So unless somebody else or something else jumps on a ballot, we would be on the hook for that election, or that vote.
Can we wait then until there is something?
You could. You could wait till the next year, and then you can still continue,
Because, that's a cost. And we'd have to have basically everything ready by next month's meeting, right?
Yep. And, which is doable, but think about it, we're losing over fire contract, over 300. Now Ford, another 300, so there's 600 more that will be coming out of this next budget. And when we looked at the budget, we could only even make a couple more years like that.
What was the estimated cost of fund the election herself?
She said she would send a bill when it was done.
No, we looked at it in the past.
Oh, if we did, I don't recall.
I mean, it was years ago, I thought it was.
I have no idea.
6, 8, something like that. I don't remember. It'd be nice to know what we're talking about.
Well, and then also recall, we still needed to now, especially now, without the congressional funding, with the rates, the $2 million that we needed to do there. So.
I think we're gonna go for a vote.
We need to do
but,
something.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, like I said, not gonna be the only one on the August ballot.
I mean, we should have a town hall, see what the people wanna do. They want the roads fixed, or they wanna wait. And we could wait until the next election that does have stuff on the ballot, next August? Or
What about November?
Right. Or, I don't know, but at least they get a little bit of a say.
Is we're gonna try to prepare something, like you said, for next month, and you wanna have a town hall, and.
Right.
I mean, that's gonna have to happen in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're gonna have to, unless we have a special meeting before August 16th to approve something, it's gotta get posted, right? We got a public hearing.
And I mean, I appreciate it, town hall and the idea of it, but at the end of the day, this is what we are here for as the council. We need to make decisions. We either put something on the ballot, it can be done, and that is where their voice is heard, is at the ballot, at the ballot box. And granted, yes, we do have the potential that we're gonna have to foot the bill for that, but then we will know their answer. But we wait. You're not just looking at 1 year behind, you're looking at 2, because by the time you're on next November's ballot, that doesn't come, you don't recoup those taxes till the next budget year.
Is this accurate dating? I mean, I know it says 22.
What page are you on? No, that's old stuff. That was just the reminder stuff.
Oh, I was looking at, I thought you highlighted that.
No.
Because that was the deadline to get
That
on
was
this, and
back,
I just realized it
that was back at
22.
that ballot language that
Yeah.
you see that was sent out.
Yeah, so wait, that's the right.
Yeah, no. But still, August will need to be when the wording
Yeah,
is turned in.
August, I'm assuming
Yeah,
same time, yeah.
to be on the November ballot.
I mean, either which way it goes, you guys are gonna need to be a singular force with the understanding everything so that it doesn't matter if it's Trustee Parker, Edwards, Bartholomew, McCare. Everybody knows why this is needed, because at this point, we're at a point where these things are needed, and, it's gonna take a massive concerted effort to speak about it to everybody. Otherwise, if there's a chink in the armor, it's gonna go down. I mean, you look at Headley, I think with Headley, the biggest problem, Mr. Clark and I were just speaking about that, is people still had questions. They didn't know what was going on with it. So this, I mean, people want their roads done. They do. They have to know what that comes with. Good, bad, everything.
So everything that we have done to date has been paid out. It looks like we paid a very large sum recently, so we're completely paid out.
We do still have retainage, because that will be held on for at least a little bit longer.
Okay.
But you're talking 20 to 30.
Yeah.
Not a huge amount.
Yeah.
I mean, still huge, but not what was paid.
Yeah, it's not just kinda huge.
What are the markings on the pavement with the R&R and the?
That's what needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And that's
Correct.
costing us nothing? Or
We
is it-
we haven't gotten that far yet, but it shouldn't. That's part of what retainage does, is that we don't pay out until the work is done, and that can be withheld to pay for those fixes.
Yeah.
That's what that
The
kind of.
pink R&R is remove and replace.
That's what I figured, but I don't want to assume. Okay.
And then you'll see the other colors around, just they're identifying.
And that's where at the end, there might be no retainage left to even give back, because that is the cost of what that fix is. But we haven't gotten that far yet. They're just, right now, still pointing out the issues.
Yeah, seems to be a lot. So I think we need to have a handle on that too, before, just having some more data on that and some more numbers would be helpful. To hopefully go beyond what we have.
Well, so I guess where we're at then, do you want a special meeting? Because something needs to be done. And I can't do it on my own.
How about a bond? You wanna look at that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do we want to put language out for a bond? Is that going to be for roads? What are we going to do with our fire contract? I mean, we're losing money there. That's still just being pulled out of general fund. Even if we bond for the roads, you still have the other
We
issue.
could still create didn't we, talked about a special
Public
assessment?
safety.
Public safety
Yeah,
special assessment?
public safety millage. So
Public safety millage?
putting that out there. Do you want to do both at the same time? Would you do one this time, one next time?
I think we'd just do them together, do it at the same time.
I mean, it's all needed. None of this is anecdotal. We have full transparency. All the information's out there. It's all on the website. The presentations have been done. They have been recorded. The information is here. I wish it was different.
Here's the big question is, do we want to put the language together, do a public hearing, see this at next month's meeting for an election that we'll have to pay for? Or do we want to wait until an upcoming election where we share the cost?
Because, I mean, the roads aren't great, but they're not collapsing.
I see the road question being able to, that is at the end of the day, that's a want at this point, unfortunately, considering what we're looking at, but needs are there.
Yeah. Yeah, the fire department's in need.
Your
But-
your wastewater plant is a need.
But if we could wait and get this on an election where we don't have to pay, I think that would
I
make,
think that would be the good way to go.
because it's not,
I would just caution you, that's 2 years down the road for your budget where it's currently sitting at, and I understand. And if we're already saying we don't have money, but we're gonna spend money to go ask for more money, like, I get it, but the amount that we're gonna spend, that we're gonna lose waiting could be detrimental.
you're talking about the roads or the fire
No,
department?
the actual needs, the needs.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about the roads.
So when
That
if we get on.
That can go on in next November, for
Right,
sure.
that's what I'm.
Okay.
Then there's a question about, like, the timing is next month. Is there enough time to get it, because it has to be,
Well, this is old language.
Yeah, yeah.
I assume
That's what
I'm
I'm
assuming the
asking.
dates and the times change, but I assume that the information is,
Let's assume middle of August.
yes.
I guess that's one thing that I should have paid attention at the conference, because they're like elections, we're like, all the villages were like, we don't do it, let's go. I should have, I guess that's something I
Yes,
should have
but
studied
August it
for.
is, so we could come back in July and we could approve something to be put on.
And if it gets approved, it goes to vote, passes.
They still, yes, the people have a
when-
say.
When will we then collect that
Next year,
next year? But if we wait till the next election,
not the 25, 26, you're gonna wait, and then you'll get it next July 1st, when we levy those mills.
Yeah.
That's when that would get realized. That's why I'm saying,
July
if we don't even ask, if it doesn't get put on to the following November, you don't see that till 27, 28. Your budget,
Might be blown by then.
I mean, we're still looking for grants. I am scrambling, trying to see what else we can find. Obviously, we'll still try for congressional funds.
Can there be a temporary special assessment to cover that fee until we?
How so? What do you mean?
Well, we talked about how we can do a special assessment for police and fire, and it doesn't have to go to a vote. So can we do a temporary one to cover more of our fire department until it we can get to a ballot, to a vote?
So a single year.
The way I heard it is you could do it for any amount of years and any percentages you want to do it.
And then
Yeah.
till we can take something to the vote of the people.
Because Danielle did say when she was here, they pass it, people pass it yearly with their budget. So you're saying just a short term.
Just 1 year.
Yeah, until, if there's something we want the residents to vote on, because it'll take us a couple of years to catch up with all of that. Something to cover it until we give them something to vote on, which is a special, a millage or something to cover fire.
I like that.
I mean, we have no even ballpark of what putting an election on through Washington Township costs.
I could reach back and say if she could give me, because it's just the village. It's not the same as what Washington puts on or Bruce puts on.
Right, it's just one precinct.
It's
Yeah, but
just
wouldn't we
us,
have to
yeah.
pay Bruce too?
No, Washington does our elections.
Oh, okay.
I like your idea, Shelley.
Yeah.
Well, we can bring that back for next month. See what we have to do to approve that.
Does that need a public hearing?
I don't know. Never done it before.
I would really like
Is
to
that
be,
what we did for the cemetery?
Cemetery is different. That was starting a millage that had never
And that's what we.
existed
now,
before.
too. It's the same
No,
thing.
she said a special assessment.
and explain that because of the timing and how long things will take to catch up, we're gonna end up in a shortfall if we don't do something short-term until we can get it on a ballot and get the result.
So, in essence, like we just, could we then just institute a public safety millage? It's never been done. We could institute it and change rates as.
I don't
needed.
know, because the difference between cemetery and this is that cemetery was an allowable millage, do you know?
Yeah,
Whereas this is something we will
Makes
be
sense.
creating,
I'm just
and I don't
throwing
know.
stuff out,
And you
yeah.
do cap out at a certain amount of mills, whereas special assessment is different, such as the road and the bonds. You can, I feel like it was like 20 mills you could go up to for special assessment. So there's difference there. How about this? I'll do both. We'll come back next month and see what looks the greatest.
Sounds good. So what? Prepare the
I
language
will ask Mark to prepare language for ballot, and I will see what special assessment will get us.
I guess just for sake of time, yeah.
And what we can do.
And then post a public.
I think we might have to go that way.
For both or one or whatever's
'Cause it might not
necessary.
pass the bill.
We need to make a decision in July.
Ballot.
Okay.
I think it would. Doesn't matter. You never know.
Wow.
And then our wastewater treatment plant energy assessment discussion.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, we heard his presentation, and I think it's just a matter of, do we want to vote to go ahead with it? And now that you've seen the numbers and see kind of what it's about, do we want them to look at the other properties?
So, Shelley, was this company recommended to you by DTE, or is this who DTE sent?
It's who DTE sends. So, you call DTE, you tell them you want the energy assessment. They say, okay, we'll give you 3 companies you can look at, or we'll just send one out.
Okay.
And so,
That's what I thought. I thought there was multiple
Yeah.
that did this.
yes,
And
there
I
are.
think just for due diligence, we may, I mean, again, seeing the dollar amount, probably look at having multiple come out and provide then the sealed bid for this.
I like that.
Absolutely, we can, but know that this is built on actual data. So each company that comes out,
Yeah.
unless they're given different information, should be pretty much almost the same.
Yeah, and if they have all the information for us to compare side by side with hours of operation, and, so I was asking also, I mean, we're limited on what we're seeing on this. I mean, yeah, it says 32-watt lamp is 1 lamp on a fixture, is there 2, 3, 4 per fixture, how many fixtures? Just a little more information, so if we do go out and get comparables, you know, that'd be nice to have, and just to do the due diligence.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Well, we did on the other, so we might as well do it on this.
Yep.
And that's our policy, right?
You
Yeah,
think?
So I can call DT and tell them to send 2 more companies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their list right now. I see Deluxe on here, but there's a dozen other within the, the tri-county close, area to us.
I'd also run it by Plant Moran, see what it looks like in the budget.
Yep.
Could you do that?
Yeah, I'll bring back that.
Motion to adjourn?
Good information.
Hold on, we have a
Got
public comment.
Good information, thank you for
Okay, that's the end of
initiating
discussion.
this.
You're welcome. I mean, it's a
Did he come out for
huge-
the church, Shelley?
We do have
Pardon
our
me?
Did he
public
come out and
comment
look at the
here.
church too?
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, Sharon.
If anybody would like public comments.
Fish fry.
I just want to go on record, I wasn't clapping because Jamie's report was finished. I was clapping because what he said in his report, which is the due diligence you did with the Gray House, and it's clearly stated in our ordinance that to be a bed and breakfast, you have to be living in that home with bedrooms and everything, and you're turning it into. So to me, it should be a non-starter that should have been voted no on long ago. But the other thing too, and I know that a lot of people know how I feel about the PILOP, and I felt about the parking. The PILOP is the most feckless idea I've ever heard in my life. Unless you're paying and getting a deeded space for what you're paying for payment in lieu of parking, we should just get rid of it. It's just, to me, anyway. Now I'm on record instead of just telling different people individually how I feel about PILOP. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharon. Thanks, Sharon.
Zach Throne, 166 Benjamin Street. So I had the pleasure of attending the meetings through the budgeting process for you guys for the first time. And the question I'm just left constantly wondering about is, what direction does this board see for the village? What do we want to see our village to look like? And you have the pleasure of trying to stop the ever-growing snowball from rolling down the hill from our finances. And you're put in a position where you're going to have to make some aggressive decisions. But it's time that we start making some decisions. There's been creative solutions that have been proposed to you to generate the revenue that Plant Moran says that you need to generate to overcome these obstacles. That's just my feedback. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Danielle Lee, I'm at 171 Tilson. Similar to what Zach said, we've sat here for 2 hours. There's about 11 things on your agenda, and you've essentially approved some dates, and some of you have voted no on things that you continue to vote no on, and there's no solution or discussion on why or what you want to do. So for us residents and some of us sitting on other boards, it would be really helpful if you could give some feedback as to why you're voting no and not just continuing to vote no, so we can really start moving this village forward, because it's exhausting. It's exhausting talking to other communities that watch your guys' meetings, and they're like, what are we doing? What are you guys trying to do? There is no end game. It always feels like a game up here of boycotting and not moving anything forward. And it's really frustrating as a resident. So I'm asking, let's work together, make some suggestions. If you don't like something, make some suggestions so we can move forward, please. Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle.
Okay, hearing no more public comment, I will just point out to you in your last page, the MML training that we had discussed at the last meeting. I do have a meeting with them tomorrow morning. Go over what that would look like, mission, vision sort of meeting. So hopefully next month they have actual information, but that's at least in here for you guys to see. Go ahead, Nolan.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Care, support by Parker. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed.